Welcome to The Explainer. We're about to dive into one of the wildest stories in AI history, and honestly, maybe in tech period. We're talking about how a single developer's side project went from just an idea to a line of code to an industry-shaking deal in just 82 days.
So let's just start with the question that has totally rocked the tech world. Could a project built by just one person actually be worth $1 billion? I mean, a few months ago that would have sounded like absolute science fiction.
And here's the truly mind-blowing part. The answer to that question? It all happened in 82 days. Yeah, from the very first line of code being written to a landmark deal with one of the biggest names in AI, it's an insane timeline. So you have to be asking, how on earth did this all get started? Well, this wasn't some grand master plan. It wasn't a huge venture-backed company with 100 engineers. It was the complete opposite. It was an accidental revolution. Okay, so let's set the scene. It's late 2025, and this serial entrepreneur, Peter Steinberg, is just tinkering around. He wasn't trying to build the next big thing. He creates this AI agent platform, basically software that can act on your behalf, and he calls it Claudebot. For him, it was just a playground, a side project born out of pure curiosity that was, well, about to break the internet. And this, right here, is where the story gets absolutely wild. The project escapes the playground, hits the open internet, and people start to figure out what these AI agents can actually do.
It all kind of kicked off with viral posts just like this one. This simple but really powerful idea of a tireless AI employee, it just captured everyone's imagination. This single post got over 2 million views and kicked off this massive wave of interest.
But you know what? It was this follow-up post that really sealed the deal. Because these agents weren't just a cool idea anymore. They were delivering real, actual value, working while their human partners were asleep. And that's the moment it shifted from just a neat tech demo to a tool that people felt was genuinely useful. But as the project was taking off, it hit a pretty big snag: the name. After a friendly but serious legal notice from Anthropic about the name Claudebot, it had to change. For a little bit, it was called Moltbot, a name that, let's be honest, just didn't stick. Finally, it landed on OpenClaw. And get this, Peter actually called Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, just to make sure the name was cool. Kind of a hint of what was to come, right? Now, during this whole whirlwind of name changes, the community's creativity just exploded. They went and built something called Moltbook, which was basically a social network for the AI agents themselves. And it went from 2,000 bots to an incredible 100,000 bots in a single day. This little experiment was quickly becoming a full-blown movement. So all this community energy, right, it just snowballed, and it turned into this phenomenon that the entire tech industry simply could not ignore. Once the new name was locked in, the growth was just astronomical. I mean, take a look at this chart. In its first 60 days, OpenClaw's developer adoption actually outpaced legendary platforms like iOS and Android in their early days. That is just completely unprecedented for an open-source project. The momentum was just undeniable. It didn't just get popular, it blew past these absolute giants of the open-source world in GitHub stars, which is a huge deal for developer interest. We're talking about projects like PyTorch and VS Code that have been around for years. OpenClaw wasn't just catching on, it was becoming a legend. But this incredible growth, it wasn't just about the code. OpenClaw had become what's known as a Schelling point. Think of it like this. It was simple, it was powerful, and it was totally open, right at the exact moment the entire AI world was desperate for a place to experiment with agents. It was the focal point that everyone just spontaneously gathered around. And that created this self-reinforcing cycle of energy and innovation. But all this massive, completely unexpected success, well, it created a huge dilemma. This little side project was now way bigger than one person could handle. And, oh yeah, it was costing its creator an absolute fortune. So Peter goes on the Lex Fridman podcast, and he reveals he's personally funding all the server costs himself to the tune of $10,000 to $20,000 a month, out of his own pocket. He also confirmed that, yeah, the tech giants had come calling. He had offers from companies like OpenAI and Meta. So he's at this massive crossroads, right? Path number one, he could raise a bunch of venture capital money and become a CEO all over again, something he basically said he'd been there, done that with. Or path number two, he could take a totally different route and join a huge company to get a new kind of experience. What do you do? And then, just 82 days after that first line of code was ever written, the decision was made, and it sent absolute shockwaves through the entire AI community.
Sam Altman, OpenAI CEO, announced that Peter was joining their team to lead the charge on personal agents. But, and this is the crucial part, he also confirmed that the OpenClaw project itself wouldn't be swallowed up by OpenAI. Instead, it would be moved into its own independent foundation.
I mean, you have to admit, the way they structured this deal was pretty brilliant. It's a win-win-win. Peter gets to chase his vision with all of OpenAI's massive resources, the project he created stays independent and open source for the whole community, and OpenAI commits to funding and supporting the foundation, making sure it has a future. And for Peter, the choice was crystal clear. Just like he wrote in his announcement, his goal wasn't to go build another giant company. His goal was to change the world. And for him, teaming up with OpenAI was the absolute fastest way to bring his vision for AI agents to everyone. Okay, so what does this all actually mean for the future of AI, for OpenClaw, and for that massive community that just sprang up around it?
Well, the community reaction was all over the map. A lot of people called it Anthropic's fumble of the decade for sending legal threats instead of trying to work with them. Of course, some in the open source world were immediately worried that OpenClaw would become closed claw, but a lot of others saw this as the best possible outcome for everyone involved.
Now, to address those fears, a foundation was set up with a really clear and powerful mission. It's designed to be a home for hackers and thinkers, it's got respected leaders like Dave Morin on the board, and it has one simple core promise: keep OpenClaw open source forever.
So this incredible 82-day rocket ride has fundamentally changed the AI landscape. Peter's new mission at OpenAI is to build agents that are so simple, even his own mom can use them. And that really leaves us with one final big question. The agentic revolution has clearly begun, but can it truly deliver on that promise and reach all of us?